No, I mean, I know with Heinz Field, that's an outdoor venue, and it's a stadium that holds, I think, 75,000, or maybe 70,000, something like that. It's so 5,000 people. While I mean, it's a large number to you and I. You're absolutely right. They are going to be like I guess that's the low. They're only going to be in the lower bowl, and social distancing is supposed to be practiced between pods, essentially. Like, so if I'm a season ticket holder and I have 3 tickets, I'll have 3 seats in my section, and then there'll be nobody around me.
Right.
So
I don't know.
Yeah.
What about going into the game?
Exactly. That's the thing. Like, leaving the stadiums. There's even going to be control going into the stadium, I'm sure. I'm sure there's going to be people all over the place, like 6 feet apart. Keep your distance. Have your mask on. The thing is, like, when you leave the stadium, they don't give a fuck how you get out of there. So that's just gonna, like, I mean, I don't know. It's one of those deals where, like, I get it, you gotta open up at some point, but
yeah,
I don't know. It certainly seems risky to me.
Right.
And the thing you're gonna hate to hear is, that there's been, somebody who was at the game tested positive.
Kinda. And then you get into the aspect too is you're going back to work and you say, I got to quarantine for 14 days.
Because I was at the Steeler game.
Because I was around people that were testing positive for COVID-19.
Yeah.
And then they were like, well, what's that all about? What's the tracing on that? I was like, oh, I went to the Steeler game. Well,
yeah.
Work's going to be like, well, that's on you.
Yeah.
Why should we pay for your time off because you went to a Steeler game? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's tricky.
Yeah,
it gets into a whole nother level.
It's tricky.
Oh, man.
I agree. Like, yeah, I mean, that is a, I can certainly see where your employer would be like, yeah, that's not on us.
Right. I mean, they're going to be like, screw off.
Yeah. Oh, my. Soka's watching you.
I know.
I'm trying to think of what else. That's it. That's off the top of my head, yeah. Did you hear what Aaron Rodgers said?
No.
He appears every Tuesday in the Pat McAfee show.
Uh-huh.
And he was on there. And I can't remember what they were talking about. The media basically stirring up shit with him all the time.
Uh-huh.
And he dropped the greatest line I've ever heard a quarterback drop, or any player. And it was, it's funny. They say all this stuff about how I'm washed up, but yet my down years are still career years for most quarterbacks.
Nice.
And he's like, that's just a fact, bro. It's like the ultimate mic drop moment. I was like, holy shit. That was awesome.
Yeah.
And it's like, the sad part is it's true.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, he's the type of guy that, like, when he has a down year for him is like, 25 touchdowns, 8 interceptions, which many a quarterback would call that a career year. Aaron Rodgers, he's washed up. Which just makes me laugh. Oh, here we go. Yes, Sabine. Oh, boy. It's going to happen any second now. Oh, there's the hiss.
Did you pause it?
No. I'm just curious to see what happens here because Ahsoka's sitting on a chair, and Sabine's just kind of giving her the dirty eye and giving her the hiss. So. See how this goes. So anyways, it's getting old show proper.
All right.
That's what I'm trying to get into. Right there. There we go. All right. So, in the world of bullshit, after renewing it for a 4th season, Netflix has canceled Glow. Now, this is a rare opportunity where they actually said something about.
Yeah.
Apparently, their reason for canceling the show is because it's so stunt based with the wrestling aspect of it that they don't know in this era of COVID when they're going to be able to get around to doing the show, and so they're just going to cancel
it. Okay.
And I was like, what the fuck? This sucks ass. Because they had renewed it for a 4th and final season. They were like, and Netflix shows, I mean, in all honesty, there are very few that go past season 4 or 5. Netflix shows don't stick around a long time. They usually tell a very short, concise story, and they're on their way. So I had no problem with it ending at season 4. But, like, the fact that, like, they renewed it, and then it's like, yeah, well, because of COVID, we're going to go ahead and cancel it. Like, sucks ass.
Yeah.
Like, it really does. I'm really disappointed in it. You never watched it, though, did you?
First season. That's it.
First season?
What?
Wasn't your thing?
No, I just never got back to it.
Yeah.
Okay. Kind of went off the radar.
Yeah. Yeah, so that happened, and that kind of sucked. So
yeah.
The other in other news, Warner Brothers basically has rescheduled everything.
Yeah, I know. I heard about that.
Yeah, the Batman has now been moved to March of 2022. Dune is being moved to sometime in 2022. The Flash, or no, 2021, excuse me. The Flash is being moved to November of 2022. Like, basically, they just took everything that with the exception of Wonder Woman, they basically took everything and said, we're just pushing it all back.
Yeah.
The whole kit and caboodle. And this is on the heels of, basically James Bond being pushed back to April of next year. So it'll been delayed a full 12 months from its original release date. And with that news, like, Regal Cinemas basically announcing they are shutting down until further notice. Like, is this the end of the movie theater?
I don't know.
Like, I mean, clearly, surprisingly, I should say, COVID has been enough to keep people away from movie theaters.
Yeah.
Tenet is a prime example. I mean, this was, a tentpole movie that, probably in a normal year would have been $1 billion movie.
Right.
But because of COVID, it did, next to nothing.
Right.
with everything else kind of being pushed back and pushed back and pushed back, and no big movies coming out. Patty Jenkins went on the record by saying that, she doesn't want Wonder Woman to be a POV premium video on demand movie. She wants it released in theaters, and she feels that there is a distinct possibility that, the movie theater industry is in great danger.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. It's a brutal question.
Yeah.
Like, it's a question, like, I know for many people, the movie theater experience doesn't do anything for them. But for you and I, it does. Like,
yeah, for sure.
For certain movies.
Right. Right.
Yeah,
it's not like they have, like, this other income they can base from. They don't.
Right.
At all.
It's like, and the longer this goes, like, we're coming into like, the winter season, which is like the next big event. Like, this is like where theaters make their money.
Yeah, no one's outside anymore, and the theaters are open, and yeah, I don't know. I also think you have to think about the general public too. They've kind of escaped the virus in a sense because they can go outside and do things. And I went down on the Montauk Trail a couple times, and that thing is booming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They can go outside and do stuff, and have people over and sit outside, and you know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
Yeah.
And you don't do that in the winter.
No. And everything you've been told at this point has been like, okay, being outside is safe. You're less likely to contact some, with social distancing, with masks and being outside. It's a safer environment than social distancing with masks indoors.
Right.
So now, drive-in theaters have had a boom, so to speak, because, that's like the ultimate in social distancing.
Right.
But at the same time, like, here's a prime example. Okay. The not Warner Bros. Disney, Fox, whoever it is, they announced that they're going to re-release Alita: Battle Angel at the end of the month.
Yeah.
In theaters for like a weekend.
Yeah.
Because it's gained popularity.
Okay.
Like, it honestly has, like I think being on HBO has been was a huge thing for this movie. I think a lot of people who wouldn't have seen it watched it and said, that wasn't that bad. That was actually pretty good. And I think the theory is, if we can put it out there and we can show like people coming to see it, then we can maybe do the sequel.
Yeah.
Like, if it does a decent number, like, I don't know what that number would be, but if it does a decent number, if it brings in $10 million, like,
right.
Hey, there's enough interest out there and people who want to see this movie. Let's go ahead and go ahead with the sequel, because it's got an audience at this point now.
Right.
But in the age of COVID-19, I can't see how it would do anything.
Right.
And that sucks, because like, if this is a test balloon for like trying to get a sequel done, I'm really upset.
Right.
I would go see this again at the theater. Like, I enjoyed the movie that much.
Right.
And I would sit here and encourage other people, hey, go see this movie. I think it's worth your time. I think you'll enjoy it. If you've already seen it on HBO, it's worth seeing on the big screen, because it's that well done. I would encourage this, but in this day and age, I'm not going to.
Right.
And that sucks.
Right. I know.
because I do want to see a sequel to this movie, but I'm not going to, it's not worth